Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm your host FAIZA with a prayer. May Allah keep you all safe, healthy and blessed. And may Allah fill this world with peace and justice, inshallah. Ameen. Today the topic we are about to discuss is related to India and Pakistan tensions. Last week we have seen the exchange of serious missiles fires and drone attacks from India into Pakistan, and obviously then Pakistan retaliated, and there was a huge scenes of war in between India and Pakistan, and then Trump administration took part, and there was a ceasefire between them. But but this whole situation has highlighted the issue of Kashmir, as well as situation between India and Pakistan is still so much tense, and we don't know yet how Modi government is going to do after the ceasefire. At the moment, there is a pause in this exchange of missiles and drones attacks and stuff like that, apparently, but there is still so much tension. So we'll try to understand what is the current status of that exchange of fires of missiles and drones and all that, and we also try to discuss what is the situation between within the Gaza, and how the UK and US government are complicit in that, and we'll try to understand Trump administration what it is trying to do with in terms of negotiation between US and Iran. So we do have at the moment Dr. Syed Inayatullah Indarabi, and I would like to welcome him. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Inayatullah Indarabi, and we do have Mr. Khalid Chauhan as well. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us today, and really grateful for your time. First of all, if we could understand, Dr. Inayatullah, I would like your viewpoint from the Kashmir perspective, because whatever happened over there has highlighted the issue of Kashmir in terms of international issue, which obviously Modi government see it as like internal issue and all that. So how do you see that? How would it help the Kashmir issue, and how do you see the whole situation? What are the most important takeaways from that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, you are right. This is the Kashmir issue is again, call it highlighted, or Kashmir issue is in focus again. But what has happened in the last week, from the 6th, 7th May, what has happened is some a war-like situation was there, but then a ceasefire was brokered, and now a ceasefire is existing at the moment, is unfolding at the moment. But my submission is that what has happened in the last 6-7 days, the significance of it, the importance of it, the meaning of it goes beyond ceasefire. It goes beyond Kashmir. It is basically something about our understanding of what is the day and age, what are the times we are living in. I have been emphasizing this point again and again, and I will keep it emphasizing that we have to be actively living in this world. Life is finite. Allah has given us capabilities precisely to interact with our time, with our present, not getting molded by our time, not conforming necessarily to our time, critically looking at things, understanding things, and engaging most constructively, engaging so that we enrich the present, and the present enriches us. We grow with the present. I see it from that perspective. And I was going to write, actually, I'm in the process, sort of, I might write about it. Uh, and Kashmir and cessation of hostilities between India and Pakistan, those are obviously the main things. But if if you if you had to ask me what is the what is the what is the most important, the most prominent, the major take from this ceasefire, the ceasefire that was announced, I will say the most important thing is that this ceasefire was announced by Donald Trump. It was something was happening between the two countries, which in the present political jargon, we will call them two sovereign countries. Sovereign countries means that they are independent. Sovereign countries means like a well-organized family. The family takes decisions and nobody knows what they do. Nobody knows what goes on in the four walls of their house. They take decisions and they do things. A sovereign country is like that. They are independent. They can take decisions. But neither India nor Pakistan, they did not. We did not hear the uh, ceasefire from them. It was Donald Trump who broke out and who tweeted, who put it on his Truth Social. I mean, you won't enjoy it, but I have talked to my Kashmiri friends and I have made a drama of it, and they enjoyed the drama. I told them it's like an old grandfather, and he is declaring, he is saying at the dawn, he is saying, "Come on, I could not sleep tonight. Look, these two guys have been fighting always. I could not sleep. Get me some coffee, please. I had to do a lot making them talk to each other. Now, anyway, I have met this ceasefire." But this grand old man had to do all this. These adult boys could not do anything. Now, if we understand this one thing, we will we will understand a lot about the current world, about the what we are living in really. We will understand the fakeness of sovereignty, a post-colonial world, neo-colonial world. We will also, and that is what I'm emphasizing. We will also start challenging the narratives which speak of uh, the narratives which speak of something called global South. They say this is the current West dominated political order, but something is there as if challenging it, that is global South. I asked them, yes, please, what's global South? They say, yes, China, India, and of course, India is over 1 billion people. China is a great country. They say it is as if this constitutes the global South. Now, my problem is here that leaving out China and all the global South thing, but now India is one of the main constituents of this what we call global South. Now, for us, the thing to understand is what if these emerging countries, what if this emerging uh, country like India, what what if they do not if they do not solve their problems, if they are as aggressive as as the West. I mean, if the ceasefire had not happened, I don't know, anything could have happened. And this is not just hypothetical. Anything could have happened. Millions of people would have been killed. You never know. I mean, war is not like driving a car that you keep an eye on odometer. If there's a camera, you keep. That's what I'm doing. If there's a camera, you keep to speed limit so that you don't get ticket. You are in control with the steering. War is not like that. The history of wars has taught us that. War has its own dynamic. If India would have gone into Pakistan, if Pakistan's if Pakistan's being would have been threatened, they could have used nuclear, and India would have used nuclear in turn. And where would have been? Should we not thank Donald Trump that he brought out the ceasefire? These guys were not ready to talk to each other. I mean, to be fair, I should not say these guys. I should say India. India was not ready to talk to anyone. So if India was not made to do a ceasefire, India would have not. But this is the main thing that we must learn from this. That when we say there is something global south or something challenging the current political order, we should always talk about things which are credible. Me and so many people like me, we have taken the Islamic Revolution of Iran in 1979 very seriously. And I have interacted with it as a student, as an independent, trying to understand what it is. And we look at it, we have understood it as a credible alternative to the world, as a credible civilizational alternative, as a credible alternative which ensures human improvement, moral, physical, spiritual, material, all combined together. It's in a very sort of it's in a, not I won't say embryonic, but it's in a very elementary stage now at the moment, but nevertheless it represents a credible alternative. So these things, if global south means India, they are no alternatives. I mean, they are worse than the present what is presently what we have at the moment. So I will again come to this ceasefire thing and what it means for Kashmir and Pakistan and everything. But I just wanted to introduce my perspective in first, so that I could tell you that how do I look at it and what is its main significance to my mind. And when you come back to me, I will inshallah say something more.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Rabi. Mr. Jahan, what are your thoughts after analyzing the whole situation? Because it's the full week we have been discussing, I mean, overall in media, international and the national media, if you have seen Pakistani media as well as Indian media. So how do you see the whole situation, how it has changed things? And what do you think, who has written the script of this whole thing, Pelgam thing, and then everything what has happened, and then intervention of Trump? Suddenly one night he was saying, I have no concern with anything at all between India and Pakistan, but suddenly he has said there is a ceasefire, and even the countries didn't know like there is a ceasefire, and they said okay, yes it is. So it's the kind of role of a boss which we have examined, that he was trying to be a boss or something. I don't know what exactly, but how do you see this victory of Pakistan and global humiliation of India, as well as Indian media? Role of Indian media was really I mean, very, you can say, irresponsible in many ways. So I mean, there was so much I mean, a kind of, you can say, fake news and stuff like that. So we can touch upon that later on in detail. But how do you see the whole situation? Who are the real writer of this whole script, and what do you think they have achieved out of that situation?
you're right. There's a lot happened over that last week. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I
I'm
can
just
hear
trying
you.
a new microphone, so I hope I'm clear.
That's fine.
So so the first, your last question first, actually, the role of the Indian media. The Indian media seem to have modeled themselves on the media that we have here in the West, right? So, and it is appalling, quite frankly. There is no journalism that there is to speak of. I mean, at the moment, I would use some very rude analogies, but I won't. But one could, about journalists. They have no intention of publishing the truth, or indeed trying to research and understand what the truth may be. They are simply parroting the political lines that are given to them by their oligarch media owners, and that's true of here in the West. And it's true of the Indian media, and all you get is spewed out garbage. So I think that we can kind of dispense with. The Indian media is just pure bile that comes out, and you see the same bile coming out of our media here. So this is not true. This has not always been true. In the past, when I was a student, the 70s and 80s, there were genuine journalists out there, people like Jonathan Pilger, people like a lot of these guys now run various media websites, like the guy who did the Iran-Contra scandal, I forget his name now, Consortium News, I think he started up. So a lot of these people that used to write for the top media outlets here in the West now have gone independent because they can't get published by the oligarch-owned press and media here, right? So you can see the complete downhill, and Indian media has just parroted this. So that's complete garbage. Irresponsible, I think, is a very kind word from you. I would put it a lot more strongly. Regarding the process that's unfolding here, I would say, we have a saying here: "I smell a rat," right? And what that means is that this is not the way it seems, and you have to smell it when. Sorry, are you struggling to hear me?
Speak a bit louder, yeah. I can't.
Yeah, if you can speak a little louder, we can't hear you. Dr. Sab can't hear you if you can speak a little louder.
Is that better now? Is that better now?
Yes.
Not my.
Is that better now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
yeah,
okay. I'll have to find another microphone. But I was trying a new microphone, but it's obviously not doing the job it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Sorry. My son's shaking. My son is shaking in the room next door because I'm speaking so loud. So the reality is that Mr. Trump has gone from disinterested third party to brokering a ceasefire. Now, I think the first thing that we should say is we should all applaud the fact that both sides have agreed to a ceasefire and have stopped the escalation process. So that is not in the interests of anyone in the region. It's not in the interest, particularly of the Kashmiri people, who would have been caught in the middle of that crossfire. And many of us in this country are from that northern region. I'm personally not from Kashmir, but I'm still from that northern region. So, we have, family connections, whether distant or current, so we have a very close connection to what goes on there. So we're all grateful that the ceasefire has happened. However, we must, whenever we have these kind of discussions, we must provide context. And I have been publishing on, Substack and Twitter and whatnot on that context. And the context is this, that this comes on the back of a disastrous partition arrangement that the British imperialists made, right? And the British imperialists is the same empire that has simply migrated its focal point from London to Washington. It is the same empire. What they left behind, you know, one of the things about establishments here is that they like to play the same playbook over and over again. So one of the things that we can see is we can almost kind of view the partition of India through the lens of the partition of Iraq, or the attempted partition of Iraq. If you look, the first thing they did was they disbanded the army and the police. So there were no forces of law and order, right? In India, exactly the same thing happened. My father was in the British Indian Army at the time, and I asked him, you know, in my sort of student years, I said, you guys had the force to stop this sort of thing. And he said, all of the senior officers were British. They remained British, both in the Pakistani army after partition, and also in the Indian army after partition. And he said, we were ordered to remain in barracks. We were not allowed to intervene. The second thing is the police, also ordered to stand down. When the police and the military were ordered to stand down in Iraq, we know that there were agents provocateurs from the West that then went and committed murder to try and get the communities to fight each other. We know this because there were British SAS arrested dressed as Arabs carrying bomb-making equipment in rucksacks. Now, no one has provided a suitable explanation as to what we're doing dressed like that in that place when there were bombs going off in marketplaces, when people were found dead in the Tigris, when the American administrator was talking about the Sunni-Shia conflict, when Iraqis were saying, we don't have a Sunni-Shia conflict. So you can see the same thing. Wherever the British Empire went, it exploited any fissures that it could find. So what I would say is that context is everything. If you look at the context in India, you can see the same thing playing out. You can see that the British Empire had no intention of leaving India, none at all. They provided none of the infrastructure that one would normally do. A village idiot, and they make these silly films like that Gandhi film where they pretend to be bumbling idiots. They were not. They were the neocons of that time. They were very vicious, cold-blooded murderers of them because they ordered mass murder. And they had no intention of leaving India. Executing a partition in that way was designed to fracture India, designed to have communities at each other's throats, and then the army, which remained under British imperial control, would then simply walk back in to stabilize the place. It was actually a miracle that the Brits actually managed to establish any kind of bureaucratic infrastructure. Even taken the records from the Lahore government offices. There weren't even any desks left there. This gives you an idea. And the person who was taken in to draw the map for the partition was a town planner from Harrow Council. I kid you not, Harrow Council. He had been in India for 2 weeks, and he was given by an Indian politician called Shashi Tharoor. He's written a very good book, which, if you get through some of the lens of his indoctrination, has important facts in it. Right? And this was one of them. It had the largest industries in just about every area. And the British went there because they wanted to basically steal that wealth, not because they went there as good neighbors. And the last thing they wanted was to release that wealth. And Kashmir is in that context. Kashmir was not an accident. It was deliberately created. And if you look at the narrative that has been created in population after the 1850s, was where it failed. However, in the inquiry, the other thing that they did was they said that we cannot have that the narration of history as it stands, this notion of Indianness. So what they did was they changed the official language in the bureaucracy from Urdu and Hindi to English. Overnight, all 150 million Indians became illiterate. Now, what did that also do? That also created the opportunity to rewrite in history. Every single book then became written English. The official histories became English. You had English historians suddenly coming up with all kinds of stories about how valiant the Rajputs in fighting the Muslims. And these narratives developed about how India had been under Muslim occupation, whereas going on by the British Empire. Right? So it wasn't looted by the Mughals. It was 26% of global GDP in 1700. Now, into this context, it's important for us to understand, and this is one of the, because these programs have an educational relevance, because both our neighbors of Indian heritage need to understand that they're being led down the garden path. And Kashmir was left in this condition simply to create a fishbone in the throat of the Indian subcontinent for the future. And it is such an obvious example of dispossessed people. Kashmir is 20 or 30 miles from Rawalpindi, and culturally those people are very, very similar. They have virtually the same dress, they have virtually the same food, the language is very similar. It's only 20 miles. They have relationships of culture and cousins. They are related to each other. There are intermarriages. Kashmir is a long way from Delhi and a very long way from Modi in Gujarat. Right? So the notion that Kashmir somehow belongs to a fascist politician from Gujarat is ludicrous. And Kashmir belongs to the Kashmiri people. And because of the injustice of the partition of Kashmir, where literally people were separated from their brethren from one village to the other, ever in the world that has happened, people resist. And India has been fighting that resistance since partition. 70,000 Kashmiris were killed before 1,000. This is long before the so-called war on terror. 17,000. If people are watching, they should Google the name of Maqbul Butt, who was a resistance leader, but primarily a political resistance leader, who was arrested and hanged by the Indian authorities simply because they didn't like his ideas. So when political resistance is treated in that way, then you can expect violent resistance. So the violent resistance happens because of the conditions. There are now 3.5 million Indian paramilitaries to control a population of about 15, 20 million. Now, in that context, what is happening now has geopolitical significance. So before it was simply just to keep these countries at each other's throats, but now the context is the game is far bigger. As Dr. Saab was saying, now we have a genuine geopolitical rivalry to the old empire of what was the UK and then became the USA. We have genuine geopolitical rivalry. The tariff wars have shown this. Trying to bend the knee to China. The tariff wars have shown. They tried to make economic war on Russia. We would reduce the ruble to rubble. Well, that didn't work, did it? Because China was there keeping Russia's back. So the fundamental rules of the game have changed. And now we have an empire in decline, desperate to have relevance. And the global south that Dr. Saab referred to is still coalescing, because you have countries that are sitting on the fence. They've had their leaders murdered, seen other countries completely destroyed. People are very nervous and wary of getting too quickly into a course of action that may lead to their own destruction. However, events like, and I'll come quickly to this, events like this suddenly start to change the political events. So what happened there? The facts as we know. There was an attack of some kind, a bunch of people ostensibly tourists. They were all male. Many of them, I understand, were actually off-duty military people, but I don't know how true. They were unarmed, so that since partition, in 10 minutes, the Indians had decided that they were going to fight. By what legal due process is that even possible? There has been no due process. Mr. Modi has not yet found the people that burned to death the Muslim Indian minister in Gujarat while he was the leader of Gujarat. He has not found those people yet, but he knew who murdered those people in Kashmir in 10 minutes, right? That in itself is a very questionable thing. The thing is, this narrative that says that a country can go and strike a country, another, as Dr. Saab said, sovereign country. You can go and strike, as an adult, strike a child, although nowadays you, as an adult, cannot strike a child either, not even your own. But a country can launch missiles at the country simply on a whim, with no legal due process. So that in itself is extremely reasonable. Now, at that point, the Pakistanis were already talking about escalation. And the word on the street, the rumors I've heard on the rumor mill, is that the Indians felt that the Pakistanis were deficient in ammunition to sustain a campaign. That within about a week, they would be exhausted of ammunition, and then they would be laid bare with only a nuclear escalation left. The problem with nuclear escalation is you almost can't use nuclear weapons, because the moment you do, you're dead. Right? This is a problem. So now countries are looking at the Russia and Ukraine situation, and think you can actually keep pushing quite a long way in conventional terms before you go nuclear. So this is quite clearly the rational, the analysis that one can draw of India's posture there. They wanted escalation. However, what happened next is a bit odd. So the Pakistanis responded with some shelling, but then there were missile exchanges. And the interesting thing for me was that there was a chief professor, Professor Gao, who, well, all governments nowadays, they have people who they will put on foreign TV channels to give an unofficial message to other countries. Professor Gao is one of those. He's a very eminent Chinese scholar, I believe from Shanghai University, but and he speaks the Chinese position in what maybe the Chinese are usually polite to say. Professor Gao gave an interview on live TV where he said, where from China, which usually exercises a kind of neutral posture, he said suddenly that China is joined with Pakistan. China will not allow the territorial integrity of Pakistan to be compromised. China and Pakistan are iron brothers and sisters. And these are the quotes that I down. It was quite a surprise to me. This is very unheard of. And then the Pakistani posture changed. It dramatically changed. Pakistanis launched a massive missile attack, knowing that the Indians would respond. And it's important to understand the details, because what happened next, there's a aircraft. The Pakistanis also put about aircraft in the air. And what is quite clear is that the Indian attack defeated. And there is no other word for it. It was defeated. This was a shock, because it had deployed its most modern jets, the French Rafales, and the Pakistanis, I don't know how many of sophistication. It has rubbished NATO's finest weapon. The Chinese have weaponry which is another generations further advanced. So NATO weapons planners will now be extremely nervous about any direct attack on China. The professor who interviewed me said that basically China had said, go ahead, we will resupply, you don't need to worry. Which basically, with China's productive capacity, in the same interview by Professor Gao, the Indian interviewer said, aren't you worried that if you back Pakistan, you'll be cut out of the market? Professor Gao said, China's economy is 3 times the size of India's. If you want to cut yourself off from an economy that is times bigger, then you're doing a disservice to the Indian people. Right? This is quite fighting talk, right? So what's happened in this exchange? My summary on it, and I'm sure we'll come back to it, and the American role. There is absolutely no question that all of the press were egging both countries on in the early stages of this. They were both countries on. India was the Modi government is basically a Hindutva government, and we should call it out for what it is, right? India is not a fascist country. India is a normal country. There are millions, hundreds of millions of us who think just like we do, just like the rest of us do, and we should not. But this Hindutva ideology goes back to the 1856. Britain rewrote the history books, and they kind of they ignore the fact that Mughal India was an integrated place, which was 26% of global GDP, and they feed and propagandize about Ashoka's India, which was 2,500, and all the rest of it, all complete, garbage history that by the British, right, to create disunity. However, that government, that military, have now understand that a miss here will be a major, major problem. Now, what does that do for the Kashmir situation? I think this poses now really interesting possibilities, because it basically shuts the door on any Indian attempt to do any strikes or anything. What it has done is it's raised the Kashmir issue back to where it should be. It is one of the primary issues in the world. It's on the same level as the Palestine issue, although the Kashmir people, thank God, are not actually facing the same horrible genocide that the Palestinian people are. But 70,000 Kashmiris were being killed by the Indian paramilitaries up to the year 2000. Right? So this is major. So I think there are significant changes. I think it's just dawning on people what has happened. Right? When Russia had superior weaponry, everybody was talking about it. Russia couldn't be attacked. Russia doesn't have the industrial capability to rearm so-called global south. China has the industrial capability to rearm the global south. Imagine Yemen with the kind of weaponry Pakistan displayed. Now that would be something, wouldn't it? I'll leave it at that.
I think so 45 and 55 we have to finish. So last time, if you can conclude the whole discussion and share your deeper analysis on these aspects what Mr. Chauhan has shared with us, and if you can include whatever you think are important takeaways from the whole situation.
I could not hear what you said in the beginning, FAIZA. This was not, your voice was, I could not hear. So are you asking
can you hear me now?
Question or what? Yes.
I'm just saying, if you can add your viewpoint, what Mr. Chauhan had, and if you can add your inclusive analysis on the whole situation. We have to finish like 7:55 because of Azan, so keep that in mind. And
so how many minutes are left?
It's 46 minutes now, so we have to finish at 55. So until then, you can share your viewpoints.
Okay, yes. Yeah, first I will briefly touch some points which you were asking about the media also. I won't, in the interest of fairness, I won't compare it with the West media. Indian media has been very not. I mean, media usually everywhere they follow the national sort of line, official line. Even when interview of Arun Shori was a great journalist when I was a student. I was in PhD those days. He is the pioneer of India's investigative journalism. Very brilliant guy. Now he's an old man, and he was also a cabinet minister in BJP government. He's a proper resource. He was saying that there should be they should be. He was saying that this is a criminal act, and they should be held accountable because these were not these were not street reporters, who have just the profession. They are very uh, well-known faces who were doing all this. But that brings us then the helpers. Helpers cannot help you if you yourself are not if you yourself are not ready. Pakistan this time had made a very good preparation. It had made the time which India gave from 20th of April. India did not act swiftly, but that time Pakistan utilized very, very properly. It built up alliance, it reactivated its alliance with Turkey, uh, with China, and Pakistan was fully prepared when it was attacked. And as Khalid Chauhan said, India was defeated. So, and the other thing I want to say is about this what I said in the beginning about this. If you tell me what is the greatest danger in the world, I will say the greatest danger comes from imperial powers who want to play gods, who want to dominate the globe, headed by the United States. But greater danger comes from those who are emerging and trying to become copycats. For example, I referred to Iran, in the beginning. Iran emerged as an independent country with an independent vision. They have a vision what to do, what is good, what is bad, and they have been following that. Now, this country, India, it emerged in 47, but the problem is it does not have a, I mean, it is simply copycat. It is following, if it thinks that we are a major power, what the major power has to do, it did interview, which Indian ambassador was on BBC. BBC, the newscaster, he was asking him about Kashmir, and he was using the word disputed Kashmir, disputed territory, or disputed Kashmir. Indian ambassador was not, why disputed? No, it's not. Then uh, uh, he he told him, no, it is disputed in United Nations. So, no, but we session of parliament. And in that session, we made a resolution, a joint resolution, that whole Kashmir belongs to us. So there's no dispute. I mean, the Indian ambassador was saying, as if Indian Parliament decides what is disputed, what is not disputed. Indian Parliament tomorrow says Chicago is Indian part, and then it will be Indian part. Now these are all the hallmarks uh, of a mind where they think of themselves as a superpower and not accountable to anything. So this uh, what I was trying to say is these copycats are more dangerous than the original ones. The original one is the America or West. They are copycats and they are both dangerous. And we should be very, this time at least it has been brought under control. And I will tell you that whatever you were saying that you are smelling a rat or whatever, I'm telling you, Kashmiris are very happy. I talked to someone in Kashmir just some hours before. They would have come out on streets, but Indian Army will simply kill them. So they did not. They are very happy, and they are very happy that Kashmir is back. And what has happened now? This ceasefire, this agreement. It was only Donald put it on his Twitter account, on his Truth Social, but it is basically underwritten. It was supported by more than America. It is supported by Britain. The foreign was active all that night on the night of this ceasefire by Britain, by Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and China. It is underwritten by them. So I tell you, and I sort of stick my neck. I mean, I go on record. I tell you, nothing will happen to this ceasefire agreement. There will be skirmishes as happen usually, but nothing will happen.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Dr.
I agree. I mean,
Are you still with me? Because this was so. Donald Trump has mentioned about Kashmir. So now, and Prime Minister Modi yesterday when he spoke, I watched his speech. He has agreed to talk for the first time.
Thank you, Doctor.
He has agreed to talk. He said we will talk about Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but that's irrelevant. He has agreed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naitullah and Rabi and Mr. Chauhan were with us, and we have to end the show over here because of Azan. I'll take a leave now. Inshallah, see you next week. Allah Hafiz.